Grand Rising, Grand Rising, everyone. Happy. I don't never know the days of the week. Hey, Miss Dolores. Hello there. How are you? Happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday so far. Hey, Lolita. Hello there. How are you? Hey, Teresa. Hello there. Hey. Another day, another true crime story. Alrighty, y'all. Before we get into it, hey, Retro. How are you? Before we get into it, just a couple announcements. Tomorrow and Friday, there will be no YouTube show. Okay. I know I told you guys at the beginning of the month that there may be some days that I may have to take off. So instead of doing them sporadically throughout the month, I just put them at the end of the month, okay? And it will be these Thursday and Friday. On those 2 days, I will be creating some pre-recorded content to keep you guys entertained throughout the month of July while I am on a vacation. So I need to take these 2 days. As for the Bigo side of things, it would be kind of like the same thing. Except for on Bigo, I will be popping in here and there just to get my hours and stuff done. But for the most part, it will not be content based, okay? Oh no, Miss Dolores, don't start. Y'all sound like just like on the Bigo side. They tell me some no. I have to do it, y'all, because I got a I have a really busy July. Okay, I have a really busy July, and I don't want to overwork myself and be all over the place. I try to keep my life really organized when it comes to content, personal life, family life, and all of that. And kind of just make time whenever I can. So that is how we're going to operate for the last 2 days of this month. So when I do come back on the first, we are going to spin the wheel for the $100 raffle for the person that wins that. If you haven't entered already, all you have to do is download Spaces by Wix, search Savage Royalty Entertainment, and put in code A59TEA in order for you to be able to get entered into this month's raffle. Okay, and I'm going to pull it when I come back. I mean, on the first, on Monday, I'm going to pull it then. Okay. And then I'm trying to also determine if there will be a raffle for the month of July, since my month of July is kind of scattered, not knowing when I'm going to be live and things of that nature when it comes to my schedule. But I will announce that as we get closer to the beginning of July. Alrighty, let's get into this today's show. Now, this is a crazy case where um the investigation was a little bit sticky, actually. The investigation was really sticky. And this is the mystery that has gripped the nation. And this is a high profile case in the sudden disappearance of Suzanne Morphew is her name. And she had went missing on Mother's Day of 2020, and the disturbing discoveries that had led to her husband. His name is Barry, this man that you see here. And he was arrested not once, but twice for her murder. Now, what is interesting is about this is she went missing, and what they're saying is she had a bike, and the bike, the helmet, the tranquilizer darts, the secret affair, the disbarred prosecution, and then the drugs that was in her bones that only one person had access to. So today we are going to break down all the details in this case, including the timeline, every investigation breakthrough, and the chilling new evidence that had sealed Barry's re-indictment just this month. Okay. So when it comes to Suzanne, she was 49 years old, and she was a mother of two, and she was living out there in Colorado. On May the 10th of 2020, on Mother's Day, she was reported missing after going out for a bike ride. So her husband, Barry, he had claimed that he had left early in that morning for work. And then he returned when he learned from his neighbors that Suzanne never came home. So Suzanne's bike was also found on the same day. So that bike was thrown into a ravine, and then days later, her helmet was then discovered, and it was off of a road 225, but it was undamaged. So this basically let investigators know that there couldn't possibly be any form of bike accident here, or her possibly being hit by a vehicle. There was no sign of crash, there was no sign of blood, and there was no tracks anywhere for investigators to kind of trace things back for her. So from the very beginning, things just simply didn't add up. Now, on May the 9th is when she has sent a final selfie to Suzanne has sent a final selfie to a secret boyfriend. Jeff Limbler is his name, out in Michigan, and she was having an affair, and she wanted to leave Barry during this time. But on May the 10th of 2020, on Mother's Day, Barry says that Suzanne was asleep when he had left for his landscaping job out there in Broomfield, about 170 miles away. So the cell tower data and the vehicle had showed inconsistency in his routes and possible stops that he could have made. Now, Suzanne's bike, it was found by a neighbor, and Barry had called the police, and that's when the search had began. Now, on May the 11th through the 13th, Barry's truck data had showed that there was some trash dump stops at multiple different locations. Suzanne's helmet was then found on Country Road 225, and there was no scent, no trail, and no signs of struggle in any manner. Now, on May the 22nd of 2020, the FBI had searched in a construction site where Barry had worked at. There was no remains there either. But between June and September of 2020, investigators had then uncovered Barry's deleted text messages and as well as a changed cell phone setting on the day that Suzanne had disappeared. Now, Suzanne's iCloud records, though, it did reveal that she was documenting Barry's controlling behavior as well as the verbal abuse in which she had endured from him on the daily. Now, on fall of 2020, Suzanne's family and her friends, they did reveal that there was a plan for her to separate from Barry. Her brother Andy had led to a massive, in this her brother Andy had let the investigators know about her plans to leave, and so he then began to start the process for a search because the family always felt that Barry had something to do with it. There just wasn't enough evidence to point him directly to her disappearance. So on May 5th of 2021, Barry Morphew was then arrested, and he was charged with first-degree murder, tampering with a deceased human body, and other charges, without a body ever being recovered. Okay? Hey, Robert. So evidence also that was presented in the preliminary hearing that happened out in 2021, a tranquilizer dart. It was a dart cap, actually, and that was found in the family's dryer. And then you have Barry's internet history, which included searches for language on how to control a partner. Talk about a narcissist. Anytime you have to research on how to control somebody, you are a narc for real. Because this lets you know he sounds mentally unstable. This lets you know the level of narcissism that this person was. For him to actually Google how to control another human being is narcissist by playbook. Okay? Then you also have the photos that show some injuries and scratches that was on Barry's hands. Suzanne's last known messages was a text message to Barry basically saying, "I'm done. I can care less of what you're up to. We need to figure out things in a civil manner," is what she was telling him. Now, in April 2022, yeah, the case did go to a trial and things of that nature, but it was dismissed without prejudice. The judge had excluded several expert witnesses due to a DA known as Linda Stanley, and there was some discovery violations that occurred during this first trial. And prosecutors had then dropped the charges because they wanted to wait for stronger evidence. Now, due to this ruling, as you guys know, when it comes to a criminal case, if you're found not guilty in a criminal case or falsely accused, the likelihood of someone doing a civil suit is very likely. Well, Barry did that. He was bold enough to actually file a $15 million lawsuit, federal lawsuit, claiming there was a malicious prosecution and unlawful imprisonment. Hey, First Lady. Now, in September the 22nd of 2023, Suzanne's skeletal remains were then discovered. They were in a different county, more than 40 miles from her house. So during a separate search, for another case, actually, her remains was then found in a shallow grave and in a remote field. The autopsy report was then unsealed. The cause of death? Homicide by undetermined means. Now, the toxicology did reveal a drug cocktail, okay? And it has various different medications that were found to be in this cocktail. And it was used to tranquilize large animals, some of these medicines. So according to the DEA, and vet records, Barry was the only private person in the region with a prescription that is known as BAM. And it's basically this cocktail that they use to tranquilize animals of some sort. And her husband is the only one with the access to it. And he had the access due to his previous deer farm operation that he had. Now, on June the 20th of this year, Barry was then reindicted by the grand jury in their area for first-degree murder. He was arrested in Arizona, and he's currently being held on a $3 million cash-only bond. What's crazy to me is narcissist behavior. First of all, sir, the fact that you knew you killed your wife and still had the audacity to fight back in the midst of this, show no care for it, and then the only great thing that you did, which is kind of a sick thing at the same time, is that you hid your wife and proceeded with life as if you did not do it. And then you had the audacity to sue the state as if you really did not do it. And then you were messy enough not to realize that you were the only person with this type of BAM prescription that is known to tranquilize animals. And you thought that you wasn't going to be able to get caught. But the narc in you would not allow you to submit and take accountability for your wrongdoings. The good narc, because in your mind, you still had control of the situation. Thank you, First Lady. You still had control of the situation. You still felt like you were winning, even after knowing that you were guilty in the first trial. The smart thing that was done by this judge was dismissed without prejudice. Because if they would have simply dismissed it, they wouldn't have never been able to go back and to look at this again. Because, of course, you can't be tried twice for the same thing. So that was one of the smartest things that was done within this entire situation. He thought he got away with it. Listen, how dare you try to hold me accountable for killing my wife because she wanted to leave me and she already found a new man? How dare you? How dare you attempt to arrest me for murder of my wife that did not want me because I was a controlling narcissist? And I'm going to sue you for attempting to do that. Like the good narcissist that I am. It was what he was really walking around here acting like. Now, what's very interesting about this case is the prosecution's misconduct, though. Because if they did not perform any form of misconduct, he could have possibly been sitting in jail. And the evidence in which they were looking for could have possibly came sooner. But I think what kind of sealed this is that her body was discovered. And her body was able to give them and, run some tests to find this drug was in her system. And I think that's what kind of sealed the deal. And he was too dumb to realize that not everybody has a BAM tranquilizer in their possession. And when your wife texts you those messages saying that she's done and she wanted to leave you in a civil way, the narcissist in you wouldn't allow you to be defeated in that manner, especially to another man. Not to mention, she wanted to leave you and she already knew where she was going at. And you wasn't going to let a possessive freak, Miss Dolores, you wasn't going to let her go that easy. Now, what's unfortunate in this situation is that this family was left in limbo. And just so happened, her body was discovered during a separate investigation. And they found her body. And how they say everything happens for a reason. So unfortunately, whatever happened in that crime, led to another crime. And here we are to an arrest years later of the very same person in which she was supposed to be able to trust. But it's the entire searching Google, imagine getting up one day. Imagine a person's mental getting up one day and actually typing to X Google, how do I control someone? How do I take full control over somebody? Because he was that afraid that she was going to leave. He knew that the gag was up. He knew that the clock was ticking for his woman to leave right up out his life for his very possessive type of ways. And this is why it's important that red flags must be paid attention to. And in this situation, it looks like that she was paying attention. She possibly was paying attention a bit too late because something tells me that the narcissist's ways was already there before the marriage even took place, because a narcissist is going to be a narcissist. It's just not something that they wake up and decide to be. It's in them. It ain't on them. It ain't something they can take off. So the red flags is already waving. It's just that as you know, when we in love, and I tell people this all the time, when we love people, we are blinded by their flaws. I mean, what they're yeah, we're blinded by their flaws. So we don't see them. You know, we don't see the flaws in them through because the love is right there. You know what I'm saying? Like we just don't see it. We don't see the evil in them. We don't see the lack of empathy and the lack of sympathy and the controlling behaviors. We don't see it. Yeah, love is blind for sure. It will blind you. You know, you can be sitting and laying next to a whole serial killer in some instances, and when you would never know it. And we've seen it happen many times where a woman can be going to bed at night with a man, not realizing that he's walking the streets killing people. Look at the man from what is that new serial killer that's out right now that we're preparing for his trial? He was killing for about a good 30 years. Going home to his husband, to his wife and his son. But when his wife and his son go out of town, he's killing people across New Jersey, in New York, in Michigan. And she's laying with him at night, not realizing that she's laying right next to a serial killer. That's how blinding love can be. It can, to where you won't know who the person is that you're sleeping with. And it will also allow you to disregard the flaws that is right there in your face. Like it's right there. How they respond to anger, how they respond with their emotions. How do they feel when it comes down to you being with your friends? How do they feel with you being connected with your family? How do they feel about you, talking over the phone? How do they feel about your text and who you talk to? How they feel about your job and how they feel? Those type of red flags right there come early on. If this person is getting upset because the Gilgo Beach killer, yes, him. How do they feel when you go out with your friends and have fun? Do they always be on your phone, or do they get upset because you going out with the girls, or are they popping up randomly for no reason at all, just sitting in a parking lot watching you? And that type of stuff shows early on. Please pay attention to the signs. Please do, because if you don't, you're going to miss some things. Because love will do that to you. And it's just yeah, they just overlook it out of love. They overlook sleeping with the enemy, Teresa. You could be sleeping with an entire enemy and you don't know it. And like I tell people all the time, a person they are who they are, especially when it comes to narcissists and controlling ways. That is something that you just cannot let go of. And then don't let them have insecurities on top of that. And a lot of times, your biggest narcissists, they will act cocky, but they really are insecure. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. Okay? Very insecure. Don't want you to talk to nobody. Think that you're attracted to everybody that comes into your sight. They always think that you want them. Why you talking to them? Why you looking at them? Why you doing this? Why you doing that? They insecure. They think less of themselves, so they want you to think less of yourself as well. They're antisocial, so they want you to be antisocial as well. They don't have nobody to talk to because their attitude, so they don't want you to have nobody to talk to. They want you to depend 100% on them. And the moment that you have any form of independent anything, they have to do whatever they can to stop it. Yes, watch the signs because they are there. They will A narcissist will hate your job simply because you make money there. Simply because you make money there. They will not like your mama just because you talk to your mama on the phone. They will not like your friends just because y'all laughing on the phone together. They don't like the fact that somebody else is making you laugh. They don't like that. Whether or not it's a good girlfriend and you and your girlfriend are having a little conversation, little girls convo, they don't like the fact that you over there laughing with another girl because they don't got nobody to laugh with. So you have to, when you get into relationships, especially in this era that we living in right now, we're living in an era where mental health is at an all-time high, domestic violence is at an all-time high. Okay? And all these things play a role in relationships. Your brother is a narcissist, Lolita? Yeah. A lot of people have family members that are narcs. And I tell my sisters all the time, all of us, all women, we need girl groups, whether it's your sisters, whether it's your cousins, whether it's friends, whether it's coworkers. Women need some other woman to talk to, whether it's your mom. We need that. We need that. We need that, y'all. We need it. Women need time for themselves. Women need time to focus on their goals, their daughters. Women need that. So when you take that away from a woman, you're not affecting just them, you're affecting yourself too, because a woman needs that social interaction. A woman needs another female to be able to balance those emotions and get them to understand things and have these girl talks and having someone to, compare and contrast or to relate to. We need that. We need it. Doesn't have to be a lot of, girlfriends. It doesn't have to be any of that. It could be your sister, your daughter. It could be anybody. We need that. So you're only affecting yourself. You really are. And I'm going to give you a prime. Yes, we need an outlet. I'm going to give you a prime example. If you are in a relationship with a female and you cut her off from her friend groups, okay, it begins to then allow her to think a lot. It allows her anxiety to get the best of her. It allow her to have these scenario thoughts in her brain that creates emotional response. And it's because she has no form of outlet to let her mind relax, decompress, let go, talk through, process. And then you wonder why she be in there full of emotion, and you wonder why she's tense, and you wonder why you done cut off all of her friend groups. She don't have nobody to talk to but you. And you a male, so you really don't understand her day to day. You don't understand why it's important for, she wants her home to be clean. You don't understand why it's important for her to have these friend groups. You don't understand why she needs to go out and get a massage, or she needs to go out and get her feet done or get her hair done, or you don't understand those types of things. And then you wonder why she's sitting in the house with you, sad, mad, depressed, and upset. Well, look what you done took the outlets that she need. Organic support from friend groups is what they require. So I'm gonna use myself for example. When I didn't have outlets, and it's because I was just going through my own thing, not because I couldn't, and I didn't have outlets. I found myself more frustrated, more bored. I was crying, I was depressed, and I didn't have nobody to talk to, nobody to let my thoughts go out with. My husband is at work for the military, and it's just me and a baby. And so my brain starts to take in all of those thoughts with no way to vent them out, which then turns into depression, which then turns into, crying spells and, deep thoughts and all of these different things, because we need that as women. Men need it too. Men need it as well. You need outside friends. Yes, males need it too. Males need that time to kind of like Bump elbows with other fellas to understand they day to day. Because sometimes us as women, we don't understand their struggle. We don't understand their worry. We don't understand that type of stuff. We just don't get it. You know, we're looking for they're looking for a certain male perspective in which we cannot offer. You go into survival mode. Exactly. You really, really do. So being this controlling being doesn't do nothing but affect you as well. But and this is why it's important for you to identify these signs early on in your relationships when you're meeting people. And narcissists can even be friends. Let's just put that on the table too. Like, let me give you an example. Friends that don't want you to have other friends. Because what's wrong with you? Friends that like no like friends can be narcs too, y'all. Let's just to be honest now. They don't want you to be friends with nobody else. And them let you call them like, yeah, girl, I'm out here with Ebony. That's why I don't like her. So you out with her, but you couldn't come out with me. Well, you could have came with us. I don't want to be with her. Why all of us can't be together? Because I don't want to be out with her. You my friend. So you not supposed to have no other friends. So you got one of them. Yeah, and they make it hard when y'all all can be on friend groups together. But she don't like no other friend. She don't want no other friend around. Friends can be narcs too. I'm telling y'all right now. Some people got, and they know their friend is a narc. They know so they have to literally dedicate time for this one narcissist friend. Like this one narcissist friend that she don't want to be around nobody but you and her. You keep Gemini said I keep them two separate. So yeah, like us women, we have men too. They got narcissist friends too. Friends can be narcs. Friends can be narcs. So you got to be careful in the red flags of friendship of narcissism too, because that's a real thing, y'all. I was giving my granddaughter's friends advice about this same thing. Yeah, like they can. It's a thing, y'all, especially amongst women. Female friends are like that. If you got female friends, then you know, okay? My Sag friend want me to herself. But she has multiple friends and bond with. Well, I'm a Sag. Not too much on us, Attorney Sexy. Okay? Not too much on us Sages. All right? I can explain it for her if you would like me to. Okay? Me as a Sagittarius, we different. Let me explain. Let me listen. Me as a Sagittarius, us Sagittarius, y'all. We like you. We do. Okay? We like you. You cute. But we don't mix with everybody energy because we are energy tappers. Okay? And you could be, oh my gosh, she's so dope and da 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 da. Meanwhile, in the meantime, your Sagittarius friend is sitting back like this. I don't like her. You saw that right there that she just did. We see what you see. We're not easily blinded by that love crap either. We're not. So while you all, that's my girl and that's my friend, we already done tapped into the energy of her already. And we already peeping out that she ain't giving what you think she giving. And listen, Linda, listen. She ain't giving what you think she giving, but you can have her as a friend, but she can't be over here with me though. Because when she cross you, you gonna have to come over here with me. I'm just trying to protect myself so that when she do cross, I know that I can properly move because that was never my friend in the first place. That was your homegirl. That wasn't mine. Now, if you bring a girl around and her energy is dope and her energy is fire and she ain't with all that craziness and that back talk and that talking behind your back and being shady, and if she ain't on none of that, then we can be locked in. But if we picking up on a shade and we picking up on them Sagittarius can be a little deep. Yeah, we a little deep. Like, so if we picking up on a shade and we picking up on the dirty looks and we picking up on the things that you don't see, you can't fault us for that. That don't make us a narc. We're very protective of our people. If you got a Sagittarius friend, we will go to war for you. We will go to bat for you, okay? And we will go against whoever for you too. And it's because what you ain't see, we already seen it. We just trying to help you see it before you get bit. But since we don't want to be the hating friend, we going to sit on the wayside and we going to let you get bit. And then we going to, didn't I tell you? But you didn't want to listen to me. You told me that she was cool, and look at you. But come here, give me a hug. Now you got to cut her off. That's all. We ain't hating. We not mad, so not too much on us. Okay? We just very we will hold you down. We're going to hold you accountable, and we're going to tell you the truth. And it's just that a lot of people don't be wanting that. Like, your friend ain't cool for real. She cute or whatever. She cute or whatever, but that's not us being so much of a narc. We're just very protective of the people we love. And we don't make ourselves too accessible either. So we don't really be wanting to be one amongst everybody, because everybody just can't take us, because some people see us Sagittarius and she too blunt, and why she just be saying anything. And we saying it with all of our heart, like we saying it with love. It's just that we don't have time to soften it up for you, sister. We just don't have time to do that. We just got to put it to you the way that life is, and life is hard. That's it. Life is hard. We don't have time to butter you up, baby. We just don't have time for that. But just know that it's coming blunt, but it's coming from a really, really loving place of the heart. Deep down in the pivots of our soul. Okay? Is where it's coming from. So not too much. Okay? Sag gang. Yes. Not too much, y'all. Not too much on us. Leave us alone. Okay? Yeah, leave us alone. We're just very protective. That's all. We just ain't for everybody. So give us. Now, there's some people, they just don't want you around nobody. See, Sag, we'll be around y'all as long as who you around is good people. But you got some people that's a straight narc. They don't want you around nobody. Just them by themselves. That's it. Don't talk to them. Don't laugh with them. You can't go out with them. You can't do nothing with them. It's all about me, 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 me. That's the difference. I'm not sad. I'm a Taurus. But my sister often tell me that I see stuff and cut. But that's the thing. With you being a Taurus, how you feel is how you feel too. Y'all bullheaded. How you feel is how you feel, and ain't nobody gonna change that at all. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel, and you ain't gonna let nobody shake you, move you, or push you into a direction that you ain't feeling. That's it. That's all. Take me as I am type of people. It is what it is. And that's nothing wrong with that. Thank you, Mercedes. Appreciate it. Alrighty, guys. I'm about to get ready to get out of here. Oh, before we get out of it now, listen. I'm going to be on Bigo very briefly. It's a very high chance that Diddy is about to get out of jail. Do not be surprised. I've been telling you guys since the start of this trial. And I've been saying this the whole time, if y'all remember, if Diddy get time, it will not be a lot. And today we're going to discuss why, okay, even more. They just now did the prosecution and defense closing arguments yesterday, and we are currently right now waiting on a verdict, all right? So if he get out, don't be surprised. And if he don't get a lot of time, don't be surprised. I've been telling y'all this since day one, okay? You guys have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. As I said earlier, I will not be on YouTube for the rest of this week. I will be returning on Monday, okay? I will be poking into Bigo throughout the week, though, prepping for July, but also I'm doing some pre-recorded content for you guys to prep for July as well. So you guys have a great, great weekend and a great, great end to your week, and I will see you guys on Monday. Hey, Star.